Patrick Johnston is an enterprising sports columnist with the province and PostMedia. He joins us from his home in Burnaby.
He was just sharing all of his column ideas for us.
Holy cow, is he working on some big stuff? You
30
readers, you readers of the province are going to be extremely well nourished when this guy is done filing.
PJ, would you agree? Mostly the depth of that is mostly because this team is in an unfamiliar territory. We've never seen the team sort of struggle like this and face questions about its future, right? It's a novel year for the
Breaking
Vancouver
new
Canucks.
ground.
It's a novel, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Novel. I mean, I wrote this yesterday. Like, can we just get on with it? Like, I can't imagine Kiefer Sherwood's terribly enthused about.
He didn't look enthused Tuesday in Buffalo, it must be said.
Many were equating his body language to Quinn Hughes in the league.
Hughesian body language and turnovers there. It's almost like there's a formula when you want to hurry this trade along.
Yeah.
Let's get going, Jim.
Yeah.
Patrick?
I think, I mean, I did talk to someone yesterday, said, oh, things are heating up. So I don't know what that means, but, you know,
I think things are heating up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they are. But Rangers are interested. I mean, listen, that's fine. But as I said, let's get moving. Like, come on.
That's fine.
For everyone's sake, the fans want something to believe in. They want to see new direction, the new direction they dream of. They want to see it. Let's do it. Come on.
Yeah. Like that poet Brett Michaels of Poison said, we want something to believe in here in Vancouver. You know, before he did the reality series where he dated 40 women, he was a...
That's something to believe in.
Really connecting with it. Yeah, that's, you know,
I was
connecting with his muscle.
I was on CTV yesterday, and Kevin asked me, what should Canuck fans do with the rest of the season, basically? Like it's
a good question.
As I said, it is a good question. My answer was just like, look for the brightest spots in every game.
The young guys.
Do you have a different answer to
that?
that?
Working hard, improving. No.
You certainly don't go to Abbotsford because, you know, that team's won 9 times. Nobody wants to go there anyway.
Well, and they don't even dress 20 players anymore, Patrick, or at least they did in earlier
It's
this.
like 9-man football.
Well,
out there.
Like 10 forwards.
I felt bad for them on that one, but
exactly. They got guys playing two ways. He's the middle linebacker and the fullback.
Whew.
So what do you do? What do fans do? What's the?
I think you're right. You got to focus on the young guys. Like, you know, Tom Lander is imperfect player at this point, but you know, the kid can skate. And hey, listen, the power play's having some fun. They are moving the puck. They can score the power play, but you know, as I said to Jake DeBrusk, said we're still not getting it done. Look how many chances we got against Boston. So,
and Buffalo. That first power play, it's 6 shots.
Well, yeah. I was just referencing because I talked to Jake DeBrusk after the Boston game. So, listen, what there is no doubt that the lack of an exciting young forward. I mean, Liam Ogren is fun when he's on the ice, I guess. Yeah. But the lack of a sort of an exciting young forward, which is, you know, what they need to get out of the draft, that is challenging. There is no doubt about that. This is a team that we're literally, this is what Matt asked me, what are you working on? Well, not much, because there's just not a lot right now. It's not that fun. I'm sorry.
Who's the CTV reporter?
Kevin Craig.
Let me rephrase Kevin's question to you then.
Sure.
What's most important the rest of the way? Wins, losses, or trades?
Yeah.
I think trades are more fun for the fans, but what is actually most important, most meaningful in the second half of this season? Wins, losses, trades.
Well, this team's 31st in the league, right? So it's not like it's that hard for them to lose. The losses are going to be there. They're just going to be expected. I think that is the framing thing, and it is a hard one because our instinct is, well, why can't they just go out and win, right? And it's very much in line with, as I referenced, this conversation I had with Jake DeBrusk after the game. I mean, I actually talked to him both games, but on the weekend, but after the Saturday game, I said, man, your line was dominant. Like the Pettersson line, I think, as everyone noted, did not give up a shot attempt against. That line was fantastic. They were playing to win, and that's the thing I suppose is to watch is there are players. The players are trying their best. They're going hard, and that's what to pay attention to. Nonetheless, the outcome messes with your head. The preferred outcome messes with your head, right? Like the idea that this team does not want to win. Management knows where they need to end up. They're not going to say that, but we know they know. They know they want to get a high draft pick. Like that changes a lot of the dynamic here, and that is how this works. And that if as I've written, that I think that this is what fans want. I think the fans want to see something to believe in a direction that's obvious, as opposed to sort of aimlessly trying to fire off. Oh, maybe we'll hit the playoffs, like, oh, well, we can go on a 10-game win streak, just like the Buffalo Sabres, and then we'll be back. But that's just foolish to believe in, because that's not going to happen. Like Buffalo, and I said this, Drance is right. Buffalo is finally banked their rebuild in the right direction. It's ridiculous it took them this long. It shouldn't have taken this long. It shouldn't have been this hard. They've had so many attempts at it. But the point is, and I wrote this a few weeks ago, if you want to look at Boston, who did actually rebuild on the fly and misfired, they actually got a bunch of guys pretty quick. So the task at hand becomes get a bunch of guys. Unfortunately for the fans, they've got to watch hockey in between here and now. And if you can find a way to entertain yourself by watching some of the stars of the league on the other teams, I really recommend that. And just don't get up hoping, oh, maybe today's the day the Canucks will win, because that's not what you want. What you want is a high draft pick. Focus on that.
Let me throw one other thing that under normal circumstances might get people mildly excited. It would still be hollow. But if Elias Pettersson just got red hot and looked like himself the rest of the year, albeit mostly in losses, I think people would get a charge out of that. It would give people hope for the rest of the contract, obviously. With news of this injury, that doesn't seem likely to happen, though, does it?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like I don't know this. I'm assuming that it's the wrist issue, which was keeping him out in the first place and has bothered him in the past. He has played very well, and it is that.
Can we say well?
Is that
very seems generous. He's played well.
He's been playing well. Fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know Blake was the adverb police.
I am
here.
adverb police.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
That's fair. Oh, there are words to describe levels of quality without needing an adverb. So you can use your nouns. Just describe what's in front of you. Anyway, no, I keep thinking about sort of, and I shouldn't. And this is literally, we were just talking about this. Stop thinking about how things were, but the reality of what this team could have been and the way this sort of three-headed center monster could have been with Miller and Horvat as well. And I think we're really kind of seeing the stark reality of where Pettersson is in, or where Pettersson's game is at, which is that it's fine. And some of that's like the realities of the aging curve, like your best years, the best scoring years, as crazy as this sounds, are behind him. And that's just a statistical truth, that everybody scores the most when they're like 23, 24, and then there's a slow decline's the wrong word, but the sort of the 100-point scorer is probably behind him. That's just the reality. But if they can get a high quality two-way, as we've talked about before, 80-point performance, that's pretty good.
Yep.
And then if you can get a young, exciting center playing with him playing next to him as the other sort of key cog on the forward lines, that would be exciting too. And that is, in the end, what this team needs for so many reasons. And that is what fans, as I said, need to focus on.
If I had $1 for every time I've heard the phrase "what this team needs" in the last month, 2 months, you talk about enjoying the star
there's
players.
A column idea. What
there
does
you go.
This
what
team
this
need?
team needs. Hey,
It'll be a special insert.
Tell Chapman my invoice is in the mail.
Yeah.
If it's about seeing, the stars of the league coming through town, hey, you got McDavid, Ovechkin, and Crosby coming up on the next homestand. So there's that. At risk of removing your favorite interview and quote from the room, should the Canucks be looking to trade Jake DeBrusk?
Well, yeah. Jake mentioned this himself. Like when I asked him last week, I said, is this the worst career season of your career? And he's went, yeah. And he noted where he's been, and like he played for a Stanley Cup, right? Like that. Like this is a guy that's been there. He's having a really frustrating season. We'll see where we'll see where this. I think if someone calls and says, "Hey, would you be willing?" Because he's on a pretty good value contract. Yeah, he's struggled this year. But I mean, I think the way that line has played at times, I think it's showed that he's got something again. So I mean, it's easier said than done, I suppose. I mean, I did appreciate when Dregs was mentioning the idea of the Oilers trading for him, going, wait, Stan Bowman can do all these things, but you still need cap space and you still need things to move, and so on and so on. So like that's the thing. But I do not think the Vancouver Canucks can afford, given the stated task, which is to get younger. I do not think they can afford to say no on a player if someone comes calling for Jake DeBrusk,
a veteran. Yeah,
because the point is to accumulate a bag of stuff, which is draft picks and prospects. And if he brings you some of that, then I think you gotta say yes.
How far does that extend for the veterans? Is there any veteran who's clamoring to stay here, even if they have official no trade? I mean, some guys are nesters and they don't care. They'll withstand a few more years of losing if it means they don't have to sell their house and move their family and all that. So that's fine. But how many of those veterans do they have on this team that are nesters and they just want to be here, and that's fine?
I mean, I haven't put the question to Tyler Myers, but I have a hard time imagining he wants to go anywhere. I have a hard time imagining Brock Besser wants to go anywhere. That might be it. Just trying to think who else. Yeah, I think
they got newly re-signed guys in DeBrusk and Pettersson.
I think that's
Marcus
fair.
Pettersson,
Garland.
Like pretty much all those guys probably could be convinced if needed to be.
Yeah, probably. I mean, like Marcus Pettersson. I mean, the thing is, what did they sign on for, right? Like, like Marcus Pettersson signed on for a different project. The project blew up. So what does he want to do? But yeah, I mean, listen, Myers has been here because he signed here because they thought this team or Jim Benning was trying to bank this team into what the team briefly was. But fundamentally, he's a guy that he wants to live here. There are players who still want to live here, whether they want to live and play for this team. The list is not terribly long. I mean, it's, like Phil Bronick. Yeah, he's signed here. Sure. And I think the Canucks also want to hang on to. That's the guy you want to hang on to. Connor Garland, listen, if the team came calling, I don't imagine the Canucks would say no. Besser, Kane, Commander engineered a trade here, but I think, I don't know where his interests are. I mean, I still think there is I still think there's a team that would be interested if it was the right price. I don't think it's a lock solid thing. You go down the list and you start getting to some young guys, and Sasson and Willander and Carlson, and those guys are here. They're not going anywhere. So I don't think the list is very long of guys that are going to be like, no, I don't want to go anywhere. And guys who have, there are a lot of no trade clauses and whatever, but that's their right to use.
It's so they can control the destination to a degree. We joked about this at the beginning of the hit here, but the Rangers entering the Kiefer Sherwood sweepstakes, I think, is very positive news, because the Rangers just have their own peculiar proprietary sort of value they put on players. They can make some weird trades. Like they gave up on Keandre Miller. They absolutely had to have Trouba and Chris Kreider out. They got some one-time first-round picks in that organization. Othman. Emery didn't look very good at the World Juniors. And you got to win there. They've been absolutely horrible at home, scoring no goals, and bit of a batshit owner from time to time. So you just sort of wonder, my God, what kind of pressure is Chris Drury under, and whether or not you can leverage the Rangers with what is hopefully a very robust market for Keith Sherwood and goose the return even further.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a weird playoff race, right? The West is underwhelming. The East is hot. The Rangers are sort of kind of in it if you squint. They are a team that if they go on a little run, then all of a sudden they're in it. If they can figure out how to score at home, that might change the equation. And yeah, Sherwood being a player that hasn't found his groove surely makes sense. I mean, when I saw the Rangers, like, yeah, I get it. Like, they're not in a blow your socks out of the water lineup, but they're in it, and there's a lot of teams in it in the East, and I certainly think that that is something that Ford and Patrick Allvin have been banking on.
And can you imagine them pulling off that deal with their 2 first-round picks? Like, their fan base will lose their shit if they trade for a veteran expiring UFA with one of their 2 first-round picks that they have.
But I can absolutely see James Dolan and Chris Drury looking at Kiefer Sherwood like they looked at JT Miller and said, that guy's a Ranger. Let's go make it
exactly.
so. Should have asked you this earlier, but what do you make of the Elias Pettersson public skating brouhaha? And, he should really stay off social if he's an injured player, Patrick.
I mean, I think, I obviously had heard something about this, but I was just kind of like, I don't know.
We talked about this a couple weeks ago, right? Did we not?
Yeah.
When it happened?
My impression, I guess it's sort of what you present, and my impression is it was more than anything what was presented. And if you're dealing with a wrist injury, should you be? It was not so much that he was out with his wife, or just what he was seen doing. And if you're trying to get your way back from arm injury or hand injury or wrist injury or whatever it is, take care on that. And that was a sign that he's not taking care. I don't know. I haven't talked to them much about it. I haven't asked them about it. Teams are teams, and I'd listen. When you're not winning, everything looks dumb and bad. I think that's kind of mostly what I chalk it up to. If they were winning, I don't think this would be a story at all. So, I was not planning to touch on it, and now I've touched on it, and that's about the extent of what I think of it. To me, it's listen, if you're not going to win games, recognize where you're at. And I just don't know. It struck me when I first sort of heard about it, I was like, I guess that's a thing, but I didn't have the impression that I didn't have, it wasn't like players were coming up to being like, can you believe you just see what he did?
But from my point, like when Foote says he should probably, I'm not sure in what world NHL teams think they can control what the spouses of their players post to social media. You're not going to win that fight as an NHL team over the long term. You have to sort of accept certain things about the world and how they change and how that might be different than your culture or the way that you would want things done. But that it is, at the end of the day, absolutely harmless. The Vancouver Canucks did not get worse as an organization, did not lose a game because Elias Pettersson's wife posted a skating video at Rockefeller Center.
I will say this on that note, like, listen, we can see the Canucks' social media approach, which is it's not fun.
Progressive?
Like there's a real, there's an organizational position, which is that they should not be having. They just don't present fun. And I know there's people that work very hard to present this team in a fun way, and we can see the way it's deployed versus how just about every other organization uses social media. In so many ways. Like, I found myself last week going into the 49ers Seahawks game. I'm a 49ers guy, and I'm watching the 49ers had a clip, and they're like, here's how we put our decals on our helmets. And it was kind of neat. It was just like, oh, that's interesting. And I would love to see a thing about sharpening skates. Let's Red has fascinating insights on hockey gear. There I was standing in the dressing room the other day, and Drew O'Connor, and it's not a story. This is not a story. This is not something you've written, but it was an interesting little moment. Drew O'Connor comes back in and is talking to Max Stewart, who's the assistant equipment manager, and is asking him about, and I realized they're talking about helmets, and he talks to Willander and he talks to DPD, and they're just talking about literally helmet design. How does it feel? And it wasn't like an amazing, but I'm just like, I don't know. I think people would find that interesting. It would bring you into their world, and that just doesn't happen. So for them to react, you're absolutely right, Matt. It's not. It's a small thing. It's how people operate. It's how people move through the world, but that's I guess why my reaction also was like when I kind of heard there was some grumbling or whatever. I was just like, it's just I'm not going to give any air to this, because that's just not something that matters to me, and I wasn't going to give it air either way. But I don't talk, to be clear, I don't mind talking about it.
I'm sorry
right.
to have asked, but you're our only guest today.
No, that's fine.
I'm just saying
my instinct was like, it's not that. No, my instinct is to your point. I was just like, well, that's not a thing. So who cares? And now it's been asked, and they've talked about it. So now we have to talk about it. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's sort of the thing. When it gets out there in the public realm,
that's society in a nutshell. That's not a thing, but it's a thing.
It's a thing.
But it's turned into a thing.
This has been a thing too. Fun thing.
It is.
Thank you for this thing. Happy New Year.
Let's do a thing next week too.
Yeah, exactly. Next Thursday.
We'll
another
try.
thing.
Yeah.
You, me, him, them.
Take care, guys.